Okay, so I'm sick, which is why my voice is an octave deeper and why there might occasionally be a rough edit as I cough or sneeze all over the camera. Other than that, I'm feeling well enough to start making videos again, which I need to do because the show must go on. So this is what we're going to see in this video. And I just want to reinforce this concept that HTML template is built on top of text template. So everything we're learning about text template we'll be able to do with HTML template, and HTML does even more, right? But everything that you're seeing about text template also applies to HTML template. And then the next thing I want to do is just point out capitalization. So sometimes I'm just typing my notes here and I'm not necessarily paying attention to that. And anyhow, I just want to make sure that I get these notes as precise as possible. And so I just want to speak to the difference in capitalization, because here we have parse files and parse glob. And then down here we have parse files and parse glob. Well, this has a lowercase template. And that lowercase template means it's from the package template, right? Either text template or HTML template. So that's the lowercase one. Whatever has been imported in our program. And so that's when you see the lowercase template, that's coming from the package level, package template. And then here, here we have the uppercase template, right? Pointer to a template. And that's from the type template. And you can see that in the documentation also, right? So here at the index for text template, we have a type template capitalized, and then the pointer to the template here, right? The type pointer to a template. That's the type pointer to a template. It's different than the type template. A pointer to an int is different than an int. They're two different types. Okay. And that's the second thing. And then the next thing is I want to show you how to use ParseGlob. And so ParseGlob, you got to understand what a glob is. So the people who built Go also helped build Unix. And so it's no coincidence that a lot of what goes on in Go is Unixy. And here you see what the definition of a glob is. In a Unix-like environment, a glob pattern specifies the set of file names with wild characters. Right, I didn't quite read that right, but you get it. So example, the Unix command move, star.txt, text files, moves all the files with names ending in .text from the current directory to the directory text files. So that's what a glob is, right? It's a pattern that specifies sets of file names with wildcard characters. And we're going to see that in action right now. And then the last thing we're going to see is we talked about increasing your performance by parsing all of your templates in func init. I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, so let's go check out ParseGlob. And right here, 04, I've reorganized this a little bit. It's always changing until the video's done, and then from that point backwards, it's solid. Here we have main, and this is exactly the exact same main that I had in parse files right here, which we just looked at. And the difference is I've taken all my templates and I've put them in this folder right here because I want to parse glob. So instead of parsing files, and when I parsed files, I had to specifically mention each file name, that one, and then this one, and then this one. It's kind of fun having a octave deeper voice. It's funny. Now I could just say template parse glob in folder templates star dot anything ending in GMAO. Okay, GMAO. And so that will parse all the templates in here, get them into my little pointer to a template container, right? My little container. And then I could do the same stuff that I did in the previous one. I could just do execute, in which case it's going to execute the first one that was parsed, and then it'll do execute template, right? And I could specify which one to execute. So this should print out 1 Vespa 2.1. So let's see that run, and go run main. 1 Vespa 2.1, sweet. Love it when it does what you want it to do. All right, so I'm going to change now into 05. And in 05, we're using func init. So the templates are all the same. They're in that folder. And the difference here is that, right, I've put my template into func init. So func init, if you go over and you look at either Golang spec or effective Go, right, you could read about func init in one of these places. Func init. So actually one mention in there, and func init. And only one mention here, but here it's the init function. So it talks all about it. So basically what the init function does is it runs before main, and it runs once, and it initializes your application. It sets things up for your application to run. Well, that's a perfect place to run the parsing of all the files, because as I mentioned before, you don't want to parse your files every time a request comes into the server. You want to parse your files once and have them there and ready to go. And so just do that when your application sets up, and do it inside of func init. So you can pause this video right here if you want to read about func init without having to go over to Effective Go and look it up. Okay. So how do we set that up? It's kind of an interesting process to do it. It's not too hard. It's kind of fun to do it. So I'm going to just take that out. And the first thing I need to do is I need to have a func init. So I'll put in my func init. And then the next thing what I had before, was this chunk of code right here. Right? I had that. So that's where I parsed my glob. So basically, I just want to put that into there. But now we have a scope problem, right? Because the scope of this pointer to a template is limited right here to this function. Okay, well, let's give it package level scope. So we could come in here and we could do var, and we'll say this variable's identifier is TPL, and what is its type? How would we find out? Well, we could go to ParseGlob, and ParseGlob gives back a pointer to a template. And a pointer to a template is from package template. And so I could do a pointer from package template type template. And so now I have that. But I'm still getting an error here. And the reason I have an error is because I've now declared this variable. And remember that the shorthand notation declares and assigns. So I'm trying to declare it again. It's saying you can't declare this twice. Unused variable. It's saying unused variable still. So it's not quite figuring it all out. Let me take this off. And that fixed it, right? So that error is gone. But now I have this error. And this error is, why is that error there? Because error hasn't been declared before. And I'm using an equal sign for a variable here that's not declared. So I'm trying to assign something to not declare. Remember, this declares and assigns. And right here, I'm just trying to assign, and that variable doesn't exist. So I could solve this by doing var error, and it's type error. Right? Okay, cool. That solved it. Or, instead of doing that, I could come back to text template, and here we go. And here at text template, I have must. And so if your templates don't parse, your application just might as well die. And must just gives me a pointer to a template. So it takes a template in an error, and when I parse glob, I get a template in an error. So if I put parse glob right here, right, that's going to give me a template to an error. That's what it returns, and that's what must wants, and must will return a template. And if we read what must does, it's a helper that wraps a call to a function returning a pointer to a template in error and panics if the error is not nil. Is intended for use in variable initializations. So we could come over here, and we could do get rid of the error, get rid of that line, and get rid of the error bit, and get rid of that. And we could do from package template, we want must. And then I'm going to pass in that ParseGlob, and ParseGlob gives me a pointer to a template and an error, which is what must takes. And then must returns a pointer to a template, which is what I get right there. Perfect. So that's a really nice func init, parsing all of my templates at the beginning of my application, and it's good for performance. And my pointer to a template, my variable, is available down here to do all the executing. And so again, I should get 1 Vespa 2 1. And if we come over here and run it, 1 Vespa 2 1. Okay. So what you saw in this video was that first of all, everything that we learn about text template, right, will also apply to HTML template. So just know that. And then also pay attention to capitalization, lowercase from the package, uppercase the type. Okay. And then we saw ParseGlob, and we learned what a glob was in Unix. Pretty cool. And then we saw that we could parse in func init. We could parse in func init. That reads kind of weird, but and that parsing. I'm just going to call this parsing for better performance. I don't know how to say that. Use func init. Parse your templates inside func init. Parse your templates inside func init. And I'll put this only parses your templates once. So that's how we improve our performance. All right, so that's like the next step in learning about templates and web programming in Go.